Let's draw! So in this video, I'm going to show you my process from beginning to end to making one of these movie-like posters that I've been doing to promote my series Zoo Patrol Squad, which of course that you can get at any fine local bookstore, comic book shop, online venue, or from my online store. It's for all ages, and it's a good time. And so I make these while I'm waiting feedback and from Penguin, and these are kind of just like a really fun way for me to sort of explore more story ideas and different themes. And so what I do is I actually just pick a name that I find is funny or interesting or engaging, and I write them all down, and then I ask my wife, I said, like, well, which one kind of gets you, you know? And this is one of her favorite ones. So I did a couple other ones that were my favorites, and then this one was for her, and she's like, ooh, I like the idea. The magpie quits at dawn. It sounds like a mystery, like an old mystery novel. But I have no idea anything because it's not a story. There's no element in this that is part of the series, and so I really have to make up everything as I go to figure out what, Magpie quits at dawn. And so I'm really just coming up with story elements or something that is engaging, that feels like it could be a story because it's just a fake poster. And so I start blocking in certain things and certain themes and go, oh, I haven't done vines. And so I start messing around with the vines, and I was like, okay, let's have a bunch of monkeys like attacking her, and then making sure things are on different planes so it has like a lot of depth to it. And again, because I don't have any clear direction whatsoever, this is a 90% improv, besides my two main characters. You can see here I've kind of got a layout, and so I'm actually going into the inking stage here. But really, when I'm developing it, I definitely don't draw this fast. I wish I could. But all of that stuff I'm thinking as I'm designing and putting things around. And then it starts to form in my head of like, oh, okay, what would be an interesting element here? What are something that somebody would see and go, ooh, that's interesting. What is this story about? Because again, it's just a fake story, right? And then once I have the whole layout of the piece and I kind of know where everything's going to be, and then I come in here with my ink and I just start inking everything. So this stage is really more of like going over and still doing improv, which is I have all of my major themes of what the piece is going to have in it. But you can tell that a lot of lines and stuff I add and I take away, because those first pencil lines, I don't want to dictate everything, because I find like when people really just do nothing but ink directly over perfect lines, it's very static. And my art does not reflect that sort of static feel that I think other people are going for. So mine's much more organic and animated. And so a lot of times you'll see that I don't necessarily, like here, like even I change the pencil drawing and go like, oh, I need to change all this stuff. And so I try not to adhere too much to the pencil drawing if I can find a better solution, or quite honestly make those happy mistakes that come with just sort of winging it as you go. My entire career is a series of happy mistakes, so it's led me down a good path so far. So why quit now? And then I changed the flipper into like a a blasting rocket, and so little things like that where I'm able to be malleable instead of just rigid with my decisions. And here I'm just adding a lot of detail. You can tell that it's just kind of like half of those lines are made up on the fly. And that's just because I want that spontaneity in there. And you'll see by the time we get to the color, I do that even on another scale. So I end up painting over a lot of this work that I did here because I just wasn't satisfied. So that's all part of, the game of having a decision and then finding a better solution as you go. So really being able to look and try to find the right thing to do instead of just the thing that you did and go, okay, that's good enough. It's kind of, I call it plussing. I learned that from a long time ago. It's just like, oh, what can you add to it, so don't just go back over it. But now it's just the details of making, my main characters look like them, and then I had them in their regular outfits, and I'm like, well, no, let's spice that up. Let's give her a little bit of a more fun outfit, and I do that also for both main characters. And I've got my little Magpie with a tie, because I just kind of made me giggle. A lot of decisions I make at these stages are making me more intrigued by the piece, or to make me kind of giggle or smile. So I did one that was called That's a Moray, and it's a moray eel, and that was just strictly because it made me laugh, made my wife laugh. And here I'm like, oh, monkeys is very just the first thing I would do. So now I'm making more of like a different type of marsupial sort of mixture, and you can see that redrawing all these guys, because the pencil drawing kind of like had placed them in, but there wasn't enough detail to sort of like, what am I going to do with this? Then I penciled them back in, and then now I'm inking, and you'll see by the end, I changed them once again, going, oh, let's make them a little bit more menacing, a little bit more tribal. That's more fun, and just sort of messing around, even more so, to not kind of just rest and accept the decision that I made. Hopefully, I feel like I made a better decision, but it's art, so it's not like there's a clear winner and a loser, or it's not like math. So it's like, oh yeah, hopefully people agree, or at least look at it and go, oh yeah, I like the decisions that this person made. But that's all you're trying to do. Is you can't please everybody, right? There's so many different types of art. So what you do is you try to find art that speaks to you, and try to make art that speaks to you, and find an audience and the people that agree with your sensibilities, your style, your humor, your desires that you want to see in your art. And that's how you find the people. But you can't satisfy everybody, and I've learned that the hard way over years and years of trying to satisfy everybody but myself. And here is me just trying to be a little bit more towards what I want to do, So, and you can see I kind of go back and forth. Like I got rid of that, that front character, and so like, oh, let's add some like shards of glass and sort of paint back in. And again, none of this stuff was in my original pencil sketch, but as you go, you start to come up with better ideas and solutions as these things work itself out. It's one of the benefits, well, not one of the benefits, but it's one of the benefits I love about digital, is because you can make those decisions, and a lot of that stuff would have to be worked out, or erased or inked over if you were not working digitally. So it's one of the benefits that I try to always keep in mind when I'm doing this. And so when it comes to color, after my inking process, then I block everything into the big shape so I can see the big overall idea, and then I work from back to front primarily. I try to lay out the main colors, so one, that my eye moves around the scene correctly, but also it keeps everything kind of put together so I can see it all, and then go, okay, if I need to change the colors of the vines, I can go do that in one layer. That's the other benefit of digital. So I try to break down, you can either break it down by a color, or you can break it down by background, foreground, middle ground. But in this one, I was breaking down like all the clouds are on one layer, and then all of that is on one layer that I'm painting now. So instead of having 4 layers just devoted to that little chunk, which I would have done at the beginning of my career, every single color shift I would have on a different layer, so I'd have 150. Now I have maybe 10, and it's just like, okay, the turtle and Fenlock is going to be on one layer. And it's really just finding colors. I don't have any big agenda on here, so I don't have in my mind what it's going to look like. I kind of throw colors on and pull back. You can see I zoom in and out a lot on this video. In real time, of course, that doesn't look nearly as chaotic, but right now it does, because I keep zooming back to make sure I see the big picture and I'm not losing the overall sensibilities of the piece that I'm trying to go for. And here I'm trying to balance out those colors. So if I have that darkish orange red, I kind of wanted to bring that up top as well to balance out the piece instead of having that all in the bottom left-hand corner. So I go back and I sort of readjust those colors to kind of match that so it balances out, because the poster is all about that. And you'll see I struggle with that plenty of places too. As I get into the painting and as I start to add things and take away, I go through and add a lot and take away and change the clouds. And so here I'm just kind of placing in the Magpie. And then I've got a picture of Penny and Finlock so I can color match easier. I changed his outfit as well. In the book series, he's pretty consistent, but they have a wardrobe change in book 3 and book 4. And since these are really just about exploration and sort of telling people about the series and having fun, I can mess with their outfits a lot more and find weird things. So each one you can imagine story-wise of like, oh, what happened in this story to make her dress like that? And, you know, so it's really kind of getting a little bit wilder. And here I'm trying to color in these like weird hybrid creatures. And I struggled a couple times, and that's part of the process of not having a solid idea. I go back and I redo a lot of artwork because I don't have an idea. Sometimes when I have something clear, it's just executing it. But with these posters, I'm much more, I go back to malleable, but you're much more just apt to see if something works, because that's the whole process of this, is not having an idea. And so it's actually kind of quite freeing, because there's no, I have to adhere to these rules or I have to make it look like this in my head. It's like, oh, I can go ahead and make a bunch of weird decisions because, you know, that they don't have to do anything. It can be whatever I feel like. So, and here I've kind of got an okay color scheme that I don't know if I'm ever 100% perfect with, but for intents and purposes, it kind of balances out and looks okay. When I pull back, I don't want them to be the center of attention. I want them to be an interesting part of it, but I don't want them to take over front and center of what the entire storyline is. And here I'm struggling with the colors of the clouds and everything, and messing with overall. And here I've added a little bit more detail, and I've added an overlay and kind of messed with the color schemes a little bit and added a little bit of that like fuzzy grain, as well as putting in the finishing touches of the name of the piece, The Magpie Leaves at Dawn. And so this is me sort of just cleaning up, adding a little bit more tones and colors, and you can see that I wasn't happy with this cloud in the background. I thought it was kind of taking away from the overall piece, and so I just added some background vines and sort of changed that and added the Zoo Patrol Squad sign, and there we go. And there you have it, a new poster for The Magpie Leaves at Dawn, starring Penny and Finlock from the Zoo Patrol Squad. Thanks for watching, supporting my art, and supporting this project. You can pick up your copy of Zoo Patrol Squad Volume 1, Kingdom Caper, and Volume 2, Run Monster Run, at your local comic book shop, bookstore, or online at shopanddraw.com. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.